Week 2 was pretty bad, to say the least, but heading into week 3, I think I've got an idea of what we need to do to try to come out on top, so let's talk some TSM. Welcome back, everybody, to Talking TSM. I'm really glad to see you, and I hope that you guys are enjoying this season as much as I am, because there have been a lot of twists and turns, right? We had the high highs of the 2-0 and then the low lows of the 0-2, and I think things will probably try to even out there, but you'll see right below me, something that I added is I'm going to just start keeping track of how many wins we need to make the playoffs, at least in my opinion. We have 2 wins so far. I believe we need 8. That means that we need 6 wins in the next, 6 weeks, right? Yeah, week 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6 weeks, okay? So even if we can average just 1 win a week, that'll get us there. I still think 7 wins might be able to, but I think 8 is like the most comfortable. So this is going to just be updated as we keep going. So hopefully this week we can add to that win total. And I'd love to hear, for the question of the day, what are your predictions for week 3? And who is your week 3 MVP? I want to know before we get into it who you think is going to be the week 3 MVP. Now, as per usual, I'm going to be doing things a little different, but this time I do have some stats that I want to go through, specifically with this Cloud9 game, and I'm realizing that these are out of order, so give me 2 seconds here. Get you up here. There we go. Sorry. Okay, so we start off the week against Cloud9, a team that got their first loss last week against FlyQuest, and in a game that I thought was very it looked like C9 of the past, not the C9 that we had seen in their first 2 games of the year, which was a very composed C9, a C9 that had objectives that they were going for and things that they wanted to do. And, and they accomplished those things that they wanted to do. Looking at this game, I think it was really important. You're not going to be able to take away an engaged champion from Blabber. It's just not going to happen. So, you don't want to give him the Sejuani. That's fine. If you don't want to give him, I think after that, you decide between the Wukong and the whatever you end up picking, Vi, right? I think those 2 are champions that you don't want to give him. I'm sure that one of the 2 teams will already have banned Elise, so you want to get him down to either deciding between the Vi or the Wukong, just whichever the team being TSM is more comfortable with. And I think that also, right, like, it's going to be important to focus on the mid and the jungle, just in terms of how, FlyQuest were able to get their lead because they got Vikla ahead. And I think we got to do the same thing for Maple, because Diplex is still young. He is prone to making mistakes. And I believe that if he's going to try to play something like an Akali, he likes mid-lane assassins, right? And as long as we have a good answer to that, which I think that Azir is a good answer to that. I think Silas is a good answer to that, as we saw. I think you just let him have the Akali. I'm okay with it. It's not that he's not proficient on it, but, he's still getting used to playing at a high level. And Maple has been playing at a high level for a lot longer period of time. And I think, giving Maple comfort and having the focus be on him and not playing things like the Galio, as much as I love the Galio, is going to be really important for him in this matchup. But I do think that the player that it's going to come down to is going to be Solo, because that gangplank we talked about was a mistake. And I think, here's the thing. It felt like last week TSM were trying to play through Solo to get their wins. And, as like a second carry. Okay, he was never the main carry, but he was a secondary one with the gangplank. And then the way that they decided to use the Cassante instead of, Cassante being more of like a third carry, like a middle of the road carry, that Neo comp, the other damage was going to be the Cassante, hopefully. I would prefer not to see that. I would prefer to see him as the third or the fourth option in terms of damage. Now, playmaking, he's one of our top options. But when it comes to, hey, we're going to rely on this person to deal a ton of damage, I don't want it to be Solo right now. And playing against Fudge has a lot of hubris. He very much is not arrogant, I would say, personally, because I think he generally backs it up, but I think he's very confident. And I would try to bait him into picking the Fiora again, because what I think that FlyQuest did a good job and Impact did a good job is he absorbed pressure, which I think Solo is also very good at, and along with that, he was able to keep Fudge occupied and away from the fights while the rest of the team did what they needed to do. I think that that is the way you want to go. If I'm Solo, he's living up to his name. He is staying in the solo lane. He is just keeping Fudge occupied. Do not let him leave your lane, okay? And if he does leave your lane, you go and you zone him out, right? And it's not just that Fudge is really good. I think he just is. Fudge is very confident in the way that he's playing right now. And I think Solo does a good job to throw a wet blanket on that, right? And to really tamper things down. I want to see him do that in this game, and that's why I think he is going to be my key player to watch for this game. Moving on, we have the CLG game. Oh, I didn't even give my prediction. I'll be honest, I am going to pick us to lose this game. I think I'll go through some stats at the very end of this, but our early game is just atrocious, and it has to be fixed. And so I think C9 are a much better early game team, and we are going to struggle because of that. So I am going to pick C9 to win, but I think if we do win, it's going to be because Solo is able to keep Fudge away, and I think because Boogie and Maple are able to make plays around the mid lane. Okay, CLG. Now, CLG are a much less formidable opponent. We saw that they really just struggled last week like we did. I don't even think their opponents were as tough as ours, obviously, because they gave Immortals their first win, and I think it's just more of if you can break one piece of the cog and get them out of their rhythm, then I think that that's what allows you to take a game from them. And also, I just think that they don't use Luger correctly. I mean, giving him things like the Seraphine, I think is hysterically bad. This guy should be their main carry, and sometimes they refuse to do it. And I think if I'm TSM, I'm banning as many AD carries as you can and just trying to whittle down that list and make him feel like he has to play something like the Seraphine again, because truly that pick looked terrible. And I'm not a fan of it. I don't think he played it badly. I just don't think AD carry Seraphine is the way to go in the LCS right now. And so, I know it was cute and it worked in the past for them, but I don't think it works right now. And so when I'm looking at this game, like we are right neck and neck with them in the standings, right? And I think that's how it's going to be for this entire split. Is I think CLG are going to be kind of that fifth, sixth place gatekeeper, and these are the types of games that we have to find a way to win. If I'm being honest with you, like we've already talked about it. I think we want to hope for 2 wins against Dig, hope for another win over Immortals, and hope for 2 wins against Golden Guardians. That gets us to 7. Right? That's the hope. But we need that 6th game to get to 8 wins. I think CLG is going to be one of them. I don't know if it's going to be this game. I don't know if it's going to be the next game. Well, I do know if it's going to be this game, at least in terms of my prediction, but I'll give that here in a second. This guy has to be better, right? His Elise, people are banning Elise, I think, because they think she's really strong. I don't even think he was that good on it. I think she was okay on it. But I want to see him just play straight up bruiser, tanky engagers, right? Like I liked the Wukong. I think the beginning of the game for that Wukong was really good. I think the Maokai is fine, but I think he needs to do a better job at laying his saplings out to allow himself to have a better idea of where enemy junglers are. And I think he needs to be able to pick a lane to really hyper focus and try to get them ahead. And in this game, I don't care which one it is, honestly. I think that there are people who can be... I think you can play through mid or through... through Maple or through Neo. Either one, I don't really care in this situation. I would prefer Maple because I think Palafox is worse than Luger. And so, I think Boogie's going to have to be important because here's why. As I was looking at stats, I know I only have a couple minutes left, but yeah, I'm not going to bring these up, but I want to talk you guys through them. In week 1, we were third place in kills. We had 31 kills, 17 deaths. Our goal difference was still really bad, but I'll get to that here in a minute. Our early game was one of the worst early game ratings, according to Oracle's Elixir, a great website. You guys should check it out when you get the chance. But our mid to late game rating was the best in the LCS. Okay, you head into the next week, and we got a total of 9 kills and 38 deaths. Okay. That is a drastic shift. We went from third in kills to bottom 4. We went from like one of the better KDs at like, I think it was what, 1.82 to our KD being a 0.73. That is how bad last week was, specifically that 100 Thieves game, right? And our early game rating barely got worse. It went down to an 11, but our mid to late game rating went down 41 points. Guys, that's just really bad. And we are besides Dignitas, we're the only team without a first blood, a first tower, a first to 3 towers, and we're averaging only 1 plate goal or 1 plate per game right now. We haven't gotten a single Rift Herald this year. And let me see here. I think that's really the big ones, honestly, that I'm looking at right now. And the reason I bring this up is because a lot of that is in Boogie's control, right? If he's able to have a successful gank early, we can get a first blood. If he's able to help a lane get ahead, then they can get those towers, right? I know that a lot of the time it's also the character, the champion that they pick in the laning phase, but I think that a way to... Oh, sorry, guys, about dogs barking, being weird. But I think a way to, help your laners, right, is to get out there and be active. And I just don't think that he's doing that right now. I think he's playing still a little bit nervous, still a little bit afraid. I want to see him have command over objectives. I want to see him have command over a certain lane. And I want to see this team not be overly aggressive. Like, we don't have to pick an early game comp necessarily, but have an early game plan. I think the only time they've done that was that first game, and yeah, it didn't work, but at least they were trying something in that vein. And you don't need to have Elise to do that. There are a lot of great engaged champions that creative pathing and different, just a different mindset, it seems like, can work. So I really liked what I saw out of Boogie in the mid to late games in the first 2 weeks. Even in the early game, even though it was unsuccessful because I think he missed a few cocoons, I just want to see them do that here in week 3. I think especially the second game here against CLG is crucial to me. And I am actually going to pick us to win this game. I think CLG, really ride on high highs, like, as they're starting to gain momentum. And generally when they get a loss, looking back to last year, they'll generally have they will have a second loss in the week after that. That first week. They don't let it normally carry into 3 weeks, which is good. So we're getting them after a pretty devastating, second week, similar to ours. So I don't know. That's my hopes for us. A 1-1 weekend, I think, would be great. It'd be a really good way to even some things out, continue to learn some more about this team. And, I just want to see us focus on Maple and Neo. Those are the 2 ways that I believe that we are going to win. I think if Chime can and Neo can continue to have a stronger laning phase, I think that will also alleviate some of the issues. But we'll have to see. Let me know what you guys think. And, I guess I will catch you guys on the next one.